good afternoon. I hope you are doing well. We were back at EPCC Talks, and I am Dr. Amber Archuleta-Lucero. We are going to have a wonderful conversation. I'm looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to it with two talented women who happen to be my students. And I'd like to introduce them to you in just a second. But let me tell you a little bit about what the goal is with these podcasts. We started this about 2 years ago. I think it's almost 2 years ago this month. With the idea that we wanted to create and archive narratives, our student narratives, individuals that come and visit us as guests at EPCC, administrators, faculty, staff, all these wonderful narratives. So that was really the goal and intention when we started EPCC Talks back in December of 2018. And we've continued that, and we're very proud of the work that we've done. Today, though, we're going to be sort of pivoting. As you know, since the shutdown, all of us are doing these virtual worlds, and here we are today, our very first taped podcast in the virtual world. And I'd like to talk a little bit about maybe learning, online learning, and the impact that it has on students, the impact in terms of looking at the transitions that need to be made, the navigation. So the topic for today is online learning as it relates to the pandemic. And the guests that I have in terms of doing that and accomplishing our goal today are two of my very brilliant students, and I'd like to introduce them to you. By the way, both of them are twins, and the first is Chantel Montes. Chantel, can you say hello to our audience?
Hello, I'm Chantel Montes.
And our second guest is Ebony Montes. And so, Ebony,
hello, everyone.
Okay. So I'd like to talk to you, both of you today, in relation to, since everything that has happened in March and the pandemic and the shutdown, one of the things that we know that EPCC decided to do was transition everything online. And as we made that transition, I've been curious. I've been talking to my colleagues. They're curious about really how students have navigated that, how they felt as a result of that, what's the outcome, what are some lessons learned, what are some things we need to think about for the future. We know that EPCC is continuing to be online for the spring 2021 semester. So there's just some things that we wanted to hit on and talk about and maybe unravel and unpack today. So officially welcome both of you to EPCC Talks. I've been looking forward to this. I think I asked you a couple months ago if you'd be willing to talk with me about your learning. And so, let's jump right in. And the way I'd like to do this is to hear from both of you. So let me start with Chantel first. Chantel, let me get a little bit of background on you. It's just in terms of how long you've been with us at EPCC and what high school were you coming from?
So high school, I did transfer from Hanks High School. I took a little, break for a couple years before starting school. And then, maybe about a 2-year break. And from there, I've been with EPCC for obviously about 3 years. I love it. I love EPCC. It's very hands-on, and the professors truly, they help you, and they make time to help you whenever you need, and it's not such a big classroom setting to where a student gets lost. There's always time for the student and their troubles and whatever help they need.
Okay, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's always important just to get a little background where people are coming from, how they got to EPCC. Ebony, you're coming from the same school, and how long have you been with us at the college?
I've been attending EPCC, I want to say, for almost 2 years now. I am coming from Hanks High School as well. I actually do love EPCC. The teachers are very hands-on. They do take the time to help students when it is necessary, which is, I'm kind of hesitant about when I transfer to university because I know it won't be as hands-on over there than it is at EPCC. And I look forward to finishing here, actually.
Well, good. No, I'm glad both of you are here. Let's kind of jump right into maybe piggybacking on what I said a little earlier, going back to March. So as you know, I think actually Chantel was in the classroom with me. We went on spring break on March 13th and said, we'll see you guys in a week. And then, of course, everything, hit. So as a result of that, let me ask both of you this question. We transitioned from March after an extended break, actually 2 weeks. We extended that break, came back in March, the end of March actually, had to jump right into this online learning. Talk a little bit, both of you, I'll start with Chantel first, as I have previously. Talk a little bit to me about, Chantel, sort of the transition that took place for you. What are some things that you had to, I guess, think about as you transitioned from being in the classroom to online?
Okay, yes, I was taking your class for when we did do the transition, and the transition itself with the teachers I had at the time honestly went very smoothly. For your class, as an example, we would do discussions and, just talk. And the time for the transition, you did not change procedure at all, which made it very easy for me since I already had a set schedule for when I did start this semester. And so from there, it was very easy actually to transition. I think the only thing I had to worry about was just getting a place quiet to where I can sit down, because that was only really the difference in that semester was it was going to be from my house setting from a desk setting inside a classroom. My other teacher, she was very, it was very easy. She was like, all right, I got it. Videos are uploaded and I got the discussions done. And so it wasn't that much of a difference in the transition. It was fairly easy. I want to say this semester I'm having more difficulty, but last semester my teachers had it hands-on. I didn't have to.
We had what, 8 weeks, I think. So it wasn't the extended 16. So maybe it was that helped as well.
Yeah, especially just keeping the same procedure as like I don't have to worry about like, okay, this is what I'm used to and set to in this class, and then oh my god, now I have to change it dramatically. It just stayed consistent, and that truly helped me.
That's good. And Ebony, your experience, we left March for spring break. We stayed 2 weeks and we continued to stay. What was your experience like the last 8 weeks?
For me, the transition was a little bit more difficult. The classes I was taking at the moment, my math teacher, he is a bit older and never really used online courses. So he was somewhat lost, and to that point, they had to switch professors because he wasn't able to grasp it. And there was a bit of a mix up between them about by access codes, and then we switched from Blackboard to Pearson. But once we got to the other professor and transitioned, that went fairly smoothly. For my other class, that one, he didn't really do online courses as well. He wasn't very tech savvy on that either. And I mean, it was difficult on us, and I know especially him as well, because a professor had passed away actually, so he had to take on his courses as well. So he was very overwhelmed. So it kind of lagged when having to give us our courses, our class. When to me, we ended up stopped meeting for meetings because he had so much of a workload because of the other classes he had to take on. But once give it about like 3 weeks once that happened finished, and he was able to like get it all in control, it went fairly smoothly for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
No, well, that's I think that's important to hear, as it came as a surprise to all of us that we were going to continue to go online. So I know there's always these limited things in terms of tech challenges and knowledge that we have to make adjustments for. Let me then ask you a little bit about as we moved from the 8 weeks and we decided to go online fully for the fall. Let me get your reactions on when you heard that announcement. Hey, we're going to continue online for fall 2020 with Chantel first.
My reaction was kind of like a mixed reaction, just because of the pandemic and everything that was going on. It was due to safety issue. I completely understood. I was like, I get it. Everybody wants to keep their individual, themselves safe, their family safe. And I'm like, I don't have to get up anymore. That's fine. I can stay in my bed. But at the same time, it was a little hard just because I do have trouble technical wise. I'm not very tech savvy. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, now I have to figure it all out rather than, I love just being right there with the professor right there. I feel like it's more, you just get more of the feeling, more, I don't know, I love it. I love just being in the classroom. But otherwise, it was kind of like mixture. That just like, oh my God, like, oh, I have to start to learn how to do my actual laptop. It's not just for essays. But at the same time, I understand. I kind of perverted just for the fact that, this is something very serious. And if this is something that needs to be done, then so be it.
Do you prefer, let me ask you a follow-up question and I'll go to Ebony. Do you prefer now that, I don't know, we've been online almost, I think this is week 13 and you did 8 weeks of the online in the spring. Now that you've kind of been in both of these worlds, do you have one preference over another? Online learning, in class, maybe a hybrid, a combination of both? What's sort of your takeaway right now that you've experienced sort of the both extremes?
I'm definitely more of a hands-on person. So I love just being in the classroom with the teacher. It's more easy access to if I have a question. And, I always try to get teachers that where you can tell they have passion in what they're teaching in. And I love just to educate my mind. And from there, I feel like you grasp more of the information rather than online. I know for me, I can grasp the information and, take it all in. But I just miss that little like of education that you get from when a teacher's actually sitting there and just telling you the information, and you can see just they love the subject that they're teaching. For me, it's just a whole different feeling.
No, I think personally, I miss it too. It's something about the energy. Yeah, let me ask Ebony,
definitely.
Exactly. Let me ask Ebony the same question. As we moved from this, and you heard about all of that we were going to do in the spring or the fall 2020. What were some things you were thinking about? What was your reaction? What is your preferred learning style, Ebony? And remind me, were you taking in-class classes in person, face-to-face, and online? Or were you doing a combination of both?
I was just in class.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a very hands-on learner. Before this, I never considered taking an online class. I never thought it would be my style. I physically need someone in front of me. I need the deadlines, to push me, because I tend to get a little lazy. So I need those deadlines. I was really hoping we transferred to classes back in spring when we get into spring, but of course we're not. I was a little not devastated, let down, because I enjoy having to get up, having somewhere to go, having someone in front of me telling me what it is I need. It helps me grasp the information more clearly. And I'm not a very good person. I don't prefer teaching myself sometimes, so just having them there is more reassuring for me. I can't wait to get back into classes. The atmosphere is much different than me just laying in bed doing my own assignment. But no, I'm a very hands-on learner. I've transitioned very well learning for the computer, but hands down, I can't wait to get back into class.
Yeah, face to face. Chantel, one of the things that I think is important to kind of talk about and unpack is sort of maybe thinking about how you've made adjustments to your schedule, right? So if a lot of stuff is online, you can kind of do this here, do this there. You set your own time parameters and so forth. How has been, and I know you're working too still, how has balancing the schedule, your personal schedule with online learning?
With online, it does give me a little more freedom in like work-wise, life-wise, just because it's just kind of set in my own time. Like, okay, I'm gonna sit down, do what I have to do, rather than going to a classroom. I'm like, okay, I have to get up, get dressed, be in class for about 2 hours, and then from that part, it's a little bit better with just work-wise, life-wise, because it is, like, as I said, more in my own time. I can sit down and, I'm gonna sit down and do this assignment for an hour, and then I'm gonna go to work, and it'll be fine. But otherwise, it's actually helped a little bit more, but I still love the classroom a little bit better. I'd rather take the extra step to, okay, I have to go to class, I have to do this done, prioritize, rather than do it online, just because I said, like, it's completely different energy.
Yeah, there is. I think too that it's sort of a trade-off for me. I think I can do a lot of things, run to the pharmacy, run here very quickly, come back and do this, but there's some takeaways too. I feel like I'm online much longer
Yes.
periods of times. So Ebony, same question. This work online time constraint balance. How have you achieved it? What are some takeaways that you have?
It's actually much easier for me, despite I am a hands-on learner. Online courses have been much easier to put into my time. I don't have to spend those 4 hours to go to campus. A lot of teachers are doing recorded lectures, which I absolutely love, as a matter of fact, because I can just, when I do have the time, I can just turn it on. Or if I'm doing something around the house, I can turn it on and listen to it, and not physically having to be there and multitask as well. So yeah, I love it. It's actually much easier than to fluctuate. It's more fluid, more free flowing with my schedule. Work-wise too, I can listen to lectures at work. I can do my homework, whatever I need at work as well. So it's much better, actually, despite hands-on work.
If you both have the ability to, have this magic wand and be an advisor for all these incoming, students that are visiting EPCC for the very first time and have to do so online, as a student, what advice would you give to them, Chantel, in terms of a new student who is experiencing online learning for the very first time? What are some things that they need to keep in mind? What are some things to absolutely avoid? And I guess tips for these students.
I would advise, I'm not a very technical person. I feel like that was my main issue. Like, oh my God, how do I figure this out? Just kind of brush up on, your computer, your laptop, as well as, we're all the teachers are expanded, doing everything they have to do as much as they possibly can, and it's a lot, I don't think we realize sometimes that it's a lot harder on the teachers as well, because they do still have to learn how to do all this stuff online and everything. I know, and so when you have a question, I know it's easier on campus to be like, oh, Miss, how can I help this? I need help on that. Ask a question when you ask the questions, so the teacher can help you as soon as they can. Because I know a lot of my classmates that are like, oh my God, I have a question today. And this assignment is due today. At the same time, you have to think, okay, my professor might still have 5 other classes she's teaching. And I have to ask her, like, look at your assignments ahead of time so that you can get this question when needed and not having to be hassling, like, oh my God, she hasn't replied yet, this and that. Because I've learned that hard way as well with another person. I'm like, I need help with assignment now. Like, oh wow. Like, I won't be able to get a response till tomorrow just because, they are going through their day as well as I am.
Yeah.
And I would just say that, like, brush up on your technical skills if you're not very technical savvy, because that is a big step, of course, online courses. Just be a little, I know it is easier online, it is at your own pace, do it at your own time, but just be a little more vigilant of your assignments and don't let it lose track of you, because sometimes there's times you need help and you have to ask a little more ahead so that the teacher can be able to help you to the extent that they can. And take advantage of the tutoring online. They're there for you. I know you can't always teach yourself everything that needs to be taught, and there are some questions, and take advantage of the tutoring. They're there. They're going to help you to the full extent that they can, and you can stay there as long as you want. So I would definitely do it if you have the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Ebony, same question for you, Miha. What are some things that we need to consider as it relates to all of what you've learned thus far, and you're giving advice to a new student who is experiencing online learning? What are some takeaways, things to avoid, some things that you absolutely have to do from your perspective?
For me, it would be okay with adjusting your learning style, because you're gonna be doing it a lot by yourself. Don't be afraid to contact your professors. Tutoring as well, as Chantel said, like, take advantage of that as much as possible. Don't be afraid to click that button to get online helping. And since you are on the computer, take advantage of it. And you can go on YouTube, search up things you don't know. There are videos on that.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about both of you about sort of your short-term and your long-term goals. So, we're just blessed to have you with us at EPCC, but eventually you're going to leave and you're going to, move on to some other things. If you can, talk to me right now, three things about the program that both of you are in right now, the program of study. Talk to me a little bit about your short-term goals and then sort of the long-term plan as both of you move forward. And I'll start with Chantel again.
Okay, so right now at EPCC, I want to start off at a school where I can ease into the college experience. I am there for nursing at the moment, and I am doing the transfer to Texas Tech to get my bachelor's and hopefully be an RN. Short term, I want to graduate from Texas Tech, get my degree, and then as me personally, I love to travel. So I want to, get some experience in a hospital and then become a traveling nurse and just kind of hop from here to there, experience everything, and get paid while doing it. Why not? And then as of long term, after I, get tired of hopping from place to place, I want to settle down in, a community that I love. And that's why I want to travel as well. So while I'm traveling, I can see, I love this place. I love the area. I love the people. And then settle down in a hospital and go back to school for my DMP and hopefully become a nurse practitioner. And from there, just flourish in life.
Excellent. No, I appreciate the answer. Ebony.
I'm currently in the nursing program as well. My short-term goals is, of course, finishing my associates here at EPCC. I'm in the transfer program to Texas Tech, so fingers crossed I get into that as well. Getting my bachelor's in nursing. I currently do want to become a CRNA, a nurse anesthesiast. So hopefully, short-term goal is finishing nursing school and then getting a job in ICU, finishing those last 2 years there, because those are required for the CRNA program. And then long-term goal is finishing those 3 years of that program, hopefully getting into my dream program in Virginia, finding a contract there in a hospital there as well, because Virginia is very beautiful. And after I do that, I actually want to settle down there as well, Virginia. Maybe get more into my fitness goals down there as well. Maybe try to open up a gym. That would be great. But at that, just right now, just focusing on this semester is my main goal at the moment.
Right. Yeah, there's always the immediate. You're looking ahead, but there's always the immediate. Let me ask you, as sort of a wrapping up question for both of you, how would Chantel and Ebony, you define student success?
For me, wise, it's just student success is just, take up as much information as I can. So, you know, the career that I'm going for, I can strive as much and achieve as much as I want in life. And, you know, just have fun doing it at the same time. It is still an experience. College is fun. And just still enjoy yourself while pushing yourself. You know.
I hear. Ebony, how do you define student success?
Me is just finding what it is you want to do, giving yourself goals, short-term goals throughout your college career, so you don't become burned out, overwhelmed. Find things that you enjoy. Find a major you enjoy as well. Things that keep you going. Finishing your courses, aiming as high as you possibly can. You don't be afraid to fail. You know, you learn from those. Try to aim it. If not, you know, there's always another chance. You fail. The only time you fail is if you stop trying. So just keep pushing it, and that's it.
Well, you know, I just wanted, on behalf of EPCC Talks, to thank both of you. I know your time is valuable, and you're brilliant, young superstars, and I'm looking forward to all the wonderful things that you guys will do in the future. Thank you for being part of the EPCC family. I'm grateful to both of you. And as we leave today, I just wanted to thank our audience for always liking us on Facebook, and of course, EPCC TV. There's wonderful shows in addition to this one. So thank all of you. I appreciate your time, and we'll see you again. Take care.